Ma'am, what in the fuck are you doing?
You nasty. All right, dramatic.
And then she said she grabbed it out of the toilet bowl and squeezed it? I'm here with my senior citizen. My little baby. He's so cute. It is literally the day after I ended a previous vlog that I think is going to stay its own thing. And now I'm going to do a different one because I don't know. Why not? But yesterday when I went to the library, I got 4 books. Randomly. I just like perused the shelves and picked up 4 books, 3 of which I'd never seen nor heard of. One I have seen and heard of, but just never read. However, one of them I've already decided, nah, because I missed it when I like glanced at the synopsis when I picked it up. And then when I read the synopsis in my like vlog clip for my library haul, I realized that it seems like there's a love interest that is an Israeli soldier. And it's something that I was like, I don't want to read it if that's the case. Maybe it's kind of a secondary character. And then I was like, maybe it's like they're there and there's going to be some conversation around that in like a productive, positive way, maybe growth or something. However, so I went to look at reviews, spoiler-free reviews, because I did want to get some information about that. And I don't know anyone who's even heard of this book. So I looked, and it definitely seems to be a love interest, and that is a more prominent, like, secondary character. And the vibe I got from what I saw is that it's not really handled in a way that I would like. So, yeah. No thanks on that one. So I have 3. And the first one I'm going to start with is Mostly Dead Things by Kristen R. Nett. And this is a debut, and it sounds kind of nonsensical. I believe probably literary. Don't know if I'm going to like it at all, but we're going to find out. I really like this cover. Yeah, so I'm going to start that, and we'll do a little reading random books from the library vlog. I will keep you posted. Hello. It is Thursday. I think I recorded yesterday something. I started Mostly Dead Things. I'm not super far into it though. I'm like, 45 pages. I read the opening like prologue type thing, and then the first chapter, and then there's like another, I don't know if it's going to be before every chapter. There's like little snippets from like the past. That's what's happened twice now. So yeah, the first thing I guess wasn't really a prologue. It was just the little snippet from the past before chapter 1. I am intrigued though. We're following the character. She's in Central Florida, and it's like this little podunk town. So it's a very like country rural setting, and I am enjoying that. And our main character is, I don't know how old she is actually, but she's dealing with a lot, and her family is unhelpful. It's in the synopsis that her father has committed suicide, and she found him in the taxidermy shop. And girl, you're okay. Oh my God. Tell me all about it. Yeah, she found him, and then her mom is like eccentric. And perhaps, like, mentally something might be not all squared away with her. She seems like a little bit of a loose cannon and a little exhausting to deal with. Cat, stop! You're exhausting to deal with. I think she's freaking out because Eric went into the bathroom and shut the door. and this is distressing. I have to leave for a dermatologist appointment, but yeah, I just wanted to check in. And yeah, the thing with like, it's again in the synopsis that her sister-in-law has like left her brother and like their kids like years ago at the start of the book. She's been gone for years. Her name is Bryn, and our main character, whose name I cannot remember now, Jessalyn. Jessalyn and Bryn used to be best friends. They grew up together as best friends, but Jessalyn likes the ladies and developed an intense crush on Bryn, but then Jessalyn's brother also developed a crush on her, and they ended up getting married. And I'm very curious about what happened there, and it seems like maybe her brother knows that she had a thing for her. There's a lot of interesting family dynamics going on, and I'm just very curious where it's going to go. So, yay, love that for me. I'm going to go to the dermatologist so they can tell me what's with this dry, patchy, flaky red spot on my eyelid, because I thought it would go away, but it's been like a month and she's not going away. So methinks I need something. It's so weird. It's like not like real itchy or anything. It's not bothersome. It doesn't hurt. It's just like dry, flaky skin that just popped up. We'll see. Hello. Back at it again in this same seating situation. I think there is a kitty. Oh yeah, there's a little kitty behind me. I am updating though. Wow, my hair is doing stuff. Whatever, I don't care. I am up to page 130 of Mostly Dead Things. It's like 30-ish% of the way through. And unfortunately, I think I'm gonna DNF. It's very, like, well written as far as the prose, the overall, like, the plot I get. Well, there's not really a plot, though. That's the thing. We're just kicking it as Jessa is, like, dealing with her father being gone and trying to, like, keep the business afloat. But I don't like her. And I feel really mean, but she's boring as shit. Like, her inner thoughts are boring to me. What she's doing, and not, like, I don't want to say what she's doing with her life is boring. Like, the whole taxidermy thing, like, whatever, cool. She really likes it. Love that for you. But, like, she has no life outside of that whatsoever. And she seems to want to, but, like, doesn't do shit about it. The obsession with Bryn, who has been gone at this point for years, it sounds like. I don't know. It's just, like, weird to me. I don't understand it. Again, I feel like it's just kind of, like, boring. She's just very, like, morose and apathetic toward her own life. And I really struggle following a character like that when we're just, like, it's a character study. We are just looking at this character and her thoughts and what she's doing. And, like, she's just so ambivalent about everything. And I also am very irritated with, like, her mom is a character. Her mom is eccentric. And, like, I would be annoyed in the beginning. She comes into, like, the taxidermy shop and her mom has just taken over some of the displays without asking permission or anything and just made them these, like, hypersexual displays at the store. Like, I think, yeah, ma'am, like, it's just, like, kind of irresponsible and, like, rude and, you know, not everybody wants to see that shit. This isn't an art gallery. This is a taxidermy shop. But then she very quickly, like, does start working in an art gallery with someone. Oh my God, this hair in my eye. Get out. And she starts working with an art dealer or someone who owns an art gallery. I don't know. And doing her, like, taxidermy porn there and making, like, art out of it. And it does sound, like, weird. And, you know, I'm not a modern art aficionado or fan or anything. So I'm sure I would look at it and be like, all right, cool, whatever. But, you know, this art gallery lady's like, oh, it's so innovative and it's amazing. She's genius. Like, okay, cool, whatever. But, like, Jessa is so irritated with the fact that her mother is just doing this. Again, I understood her initial irritation with, like, you took over the displays at the shop and you did this. Like, the fuck, mom? But now she's doing it at an art gallery. But Jessa is just so, like, disgusted by it all the time and just so, like, irritated that her mom is doing this and just, like, and it just screams of, like, repression. because her dad hated anything like sexual, like at all. Any mention of anything sexual, he'd be like, stop it, And they weren't like super Christian or anything, but he just very repressed. And so she's very like, she idolized her dad. So it just feels like she has taken in some of that like repressed shit. But she has very sexual thoughts and very sexual desires that she thinks about all the time. I don't know, just the way she is toward her mom is like irritating. Whatever. And just the book in general, like on the back, it's described as this like hilarious story. Darkly hilarious. Strangest and funniest first novels I've ever read. Like, funny, funny, funny. Darkly funny package. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Wry humor. I'm 30-ish% in. I have not like chuckled, smirked, had a little, that's funny. Like nothing. It's, again, the prose and everything, I think it's well written, but it's just kind of like apathetic. It seems like apathetic and bored like with itself, I guess. And the way that these two siblings both like were in love with Bryn, and they seem to both have known it. Like obviously Jessa knew that her brother was in love with him, but it seems like he knew also. I don't know if he knew that Jessa was having sex with Bryn while he was married to her or not. But like, it's just weird. What are we doing? You know? And then she's been gone for years. You're like into your 30s, I think. Stop pining after this chick. And she doesn't even seem like she was that cool to begin with. But it's just like, I don't get why you guys were both so obsessed with her. Unless it's just the fact of like, you know, not a lot of options. And so she was the one presented to the both of you. And so you went with it. I don't know. And yeah, that's that. So I have decided to DNF. There were a lot of people saying that they felt like this book was like the taxidermy part, like the gore. It was disgusting. I'm not really finding that. I am finding the writing is the setting just feels dirty and like hot and wet and gross. And the author is like really honing in on that, like really hyper fixating on the grossness of it all. But it's not like bothering me at all. I think it's adding to the setting and whatnot. I don't think it's a bad book by any means. If you're super into literary fiction and you love a character study of an incredibly flawed character, this might be right up your freaking alley, you know? It's not for me. Popping back in real quick because I almost forgot about a random bone I had to pick as well. Just one of these like super random things. It was mentioned like one time and I was just like, okay. Jessa and her 14-year-old niece are talking about their like gross period stories, which to each their own again. And one of them was really gross, I guess. Yeah, this was disgusting. Because I was like, who the fuck would do that? If you're out there and you've done this, I mean, do you? It's whatever. It's not like you're a disgusting, despicable person. But I was just like, ew. The niece was talking about having like a clot once that came out that like looked like a slug. It was so like thick. And then she said she grabbed it out of the toilet bowl and squeezed it. Ma'am, what in the fuck are you doing? That's disgusting, but whatever. But then Jessa is saying how, and she doesn't say who it was because it was her niece's fucking mom. She talks about how one time she was like fooling around with a girl at night in the back seat of a car, and the other girl started her period while they were fooling around, and they didn't notice until like they got to wherever they were going and like, you know, went to get out of the car, and then they saw like blood everywhere. And I was just kind of like, okay, I mean, I could buy like the feel of it, like touching. You might not know if you're just like touching with your fingers or whatever. But then, like, you get back in the front seat and you drive somewhere, your fingers are gonna be particularly sticky if there's blood on them now, period blood. But then also, she then mentions that they were laughing at all the blood around her mouth because she was going down on the chick. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I feel like you could tell the difference in the moment between, you know, secretions, regular, you know, sexy time fluids and period blood. You could tell the difference with that in your mouth. I'm sorry. And once again, that would quickly become incredibly sticky in a different way than other fluids, I believe, in my learned opinion. So, yeah, I was just like, BS. It was just like it was like half a page talking about that. But I was like, I call bullshit. Anyway. That's not what made me want to DNF it. That was just something that made me go, sure, Jan. Hello, happy Saturday. I think I recorded. Hey, ma'am, don't start. I have read more of They Dream in Gold. I'm not super far into it still, only this much. Chapter 11, page 63 is what I'm up to. I'm intrigued. It is very much like literary and seems to be kind of, you know, a character study situation. We just happened upon a situation of a predatory older man. I don't know the exact age of this particular, the female character, but she's a senior in high school. So 17 or 18, she might be legal. She might not technically be. She's in New York. I don't know what the fucking laws are there for when you become legally an adult and can give consent for sexual things. I don't know. Whatever. I know it can vary. Might be technically legally an adult, might be 18. I don't believe her age was said, but she's definitely a senior in high school. If it was like a dude that was like 22 or something, like, I don't know, when I was 22, I don't think I ever found myself feeling attracted to high schoolers even then, just because I was like, you're silly and little and immature. But, like, I don't think it's, like, wildly problematic, I guess, if someone's, like, 18, 19, and the person they're seeing is, like, 22, 23, or something. I don't know. Might be, like, a little odd, depending on the situation and how long you knew the person. But, like, all that to say, that isn't even the case here. The dude in question is doing the math. He's a doctor, and he's been a doctor for 7 years. Pretty sure to become a doctor, that's, like, a decade-ish of schooling and residency and all that shit. And so then to like have been a doctor now for 7 years, you're like well into your 30s. What the fuck are you doing trying to get at a fucking teenager at all? A 20-year-old, a 19-year-old, an 18, potentially 17-year-old? Like, you're gross. I find you to be a creepy weirdo, pedophile type of man. So that's gross, but it's part of this character's, like, background of, like, you know, the trauma she has endured, the difficult youth she has had, and it's not, like, something that's making me want to, like, stop the book. And so far, there hasn't been anything explicit, necessarily. It's just very obvious that they are sleeping together, and that he pursued her, being like, I'd love to take you to lunch sometime, blah, blah, blah. You nasty. But yeah, I don't know. I'm intrigued. There's a lot of discussion of different cultures and like in the diaspora. This fucking bell toy. I hope you can't hear it. It's going crazy. No, ghost. No. This cat, she just like suddenly became full of piss and vinegar, of course, when I'm trying to sit down and do something. Anyway, there's a lot of discussion about that though. There's not even necessarily like a main character going on here. But the girl I was just talking about, Bonnie, she's married to the guy who goes missing when I read the synopsis. Mansoor. And he's oh my God, I'm going to do it again. Senegalese, I think, is how that would be pronounced. But Bonnie is a Black American woman.
Mansour and his mom, whose name so far is just Mama, they live in Switzerland for reasons. But yeah, it's very literary with like right here. Okay, this is what I mean. Like, there's just stuff that's like so kind of angsty, melodramatic, existential, deep, profound stuff in like literary fiction sometimes. And so, again, I've said this before. Sometimes it works for me. Sometimes it hits and I'm like, oh, the writing. Oh, that's amazing. What a way to describe that. And then sometimes I'm just like, all right, dramatic. So we're talking about the doctor, and him and his wife, like, they're not sleeping together or anything. Says his wife, Rabia, sleeps alone, has slept alone for most of their marriage. He prefers the couch in the living room and eventually the one in his office. He thought at first that it was only a matter of convenience, but he soon realized that the problem was her. Rabia's body heat, imprinted on the mattress beside him when she rose for work, had become a cipher of death, what remains when his patient dies. For him, the warmth a body leaves behind is not a comfort. It is the final evidence of life. Sharing a bed feels like endless mourning. Bro, like, the dramatics. You're a doctor, and because when a patient dies and their body is taken away, there's a warmth. Like, you're in the room that often while they're taking the body away to feel the warmth on the bed, on the mattress. Like, this is a thing you do. And, like, all doctors would be like this then. I mean, everyone's different, I guess, but, like, it's just so melodramatic to me. Okay, but also kills me that he's like, the problem is her. This is your wife's fault, that this is how you see her, like, body heat left on the bed. It reminds you of death and mourning. Bro, like, you need therapy for a variety of reasons, including your attraction to fucking children. I'm sure for a lot of people that is deeply profound and like, oh, wow, so interesting. But stuff like that, for me, I'm just like, okay, drama queen. But the book is very intriguing, like their histories and everything. And the mystery of, well, it's kind of, maybe it's a mystery, maybe it's not. Bonnie is trying to find out because I thought that it would happen later in the book based on the synopsis, but the very beginning of the book, Mansour has already been gone for 3 weeks, off to Spain for like touring with his band or whatever. We start off with she's pregnant and he's gone and isn't answering calls anymore, and she's getting worried. And other people are like, oh, like Mama is like, oh, he does this sometimes. He just like vanishes for a while, for several days, several weeks. Like, it'll be fine. Don't worry. And she's just like, I'm worried. And then they hear on the radio a body found, and the description of the body and a piece of jewelry on the body leads them all to be like, oh shit, it's him. But Mama is like, no, it's not him. And Bonnie is like, I'm gonna go find out. Geneva, that's where it is, Geneva. So she's like, I'm gonna go to Geneva and see if that's him. So that's where I left off with Bonnie. Then we like went into the past with her. So I'm curious to see also, like, I'm sure I'm gonna get like how they met and everything, and very curious about that. But I need to take a break to like catch up on some booktube and stuff and give my eyes a little break from reading. And I will update probably tomorrow, because I probably will read some more of this today, but I don't know how much. Hello, happy Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday. I'm here to update. I am now 152 pages into this. I mean, I guess I don't really have any like new thoughts. We're just getting a lot more information. I don't want to be spoilery, I guess. But yeah, we're getting a lot more information about the various characters, and then just like how Bonnie and Mansour met, and just so many conversations happening, so many observations happening about the African diaspora, like I've said. Because again, Mansour is originally from Senegal, but then he like grew up, he was in Paris for a time, and then Switzerland. Right? He was in Paris. I don't know. Then he grew up in Switzerland. But now he's in the United States, and he is really struggling with what blackness means in America, like what it means to be a black American versus being, African like he is. And it's also kind of happening with Claudia, or I keep saying Claudine, Bonnie's mom, Claudine.
So yeah, just lots of thematic stuff around that. And yeah, I'm just intrigued with where things are going. These people have a lot of trauma, but I feel like the author it's not like gratuitous. We aren't seeing a lot of stuff on page, truly. There's like little mentions, like enough, but it's not this like gratuitous like trauma for the sake of trauma. It's not feeling like trauma porn or anything. I'm very curious where it's all going. If anywhere. Maybe it's not going anywhere. Maybe it's very much just a character study. That is all for now, though. I need to get logged into work. So, happy fucking Wednesday. Except I have a migraine. A baby one, but I have a migraine. And the AC is out in my house. As a reminder, I live in Phoenix, Arizona. It's supposed to hit 100 by 11 a.m. today. So, that's fun. I have all the blinds closed still. And I have like ceiling fans, and I have one like regular like vertical fan, but then I have one vertical fan, like oscillating vertical fan that like you can put an ice pack and water in, and it like does actual cooling, you know what I mean? So that thing is propped in the living room, and the fan and the ceiling fan is going, and that's where I'm going to be hanging out until they can get it fixed. We went to bed like at 10:15, and like I was falling asleep around 10:30-ish, and the AC was going and it was cool. And then I woke up at like midnight, 11:45, midnight. I woke up like I hadn't like fully fallen asleep, I don't think, but I like woke up and I was like stuffy. And I was just like, why do I feel like I'm suffocating? And so I got up and went and stood in front of one of the vents, and I was like, that's warm air. That is just warm air. Not like hot, but warm. And definitely not cooling at all. And it had already gone up a few degrees when we went to bed. I think it was like 73, 74 degrees. And when I looked at that point, it was 77. And overnight it got up to 81, which is what it currently is. And yeah, I put in a home warranty service request at like 5 o'clock this morning, and because I just was waiting. And then the company doesn't open until 8 o'clock, which is just in a couple of minutes. So I'm going to give them like 5-10 minutes, but then I'm calling because I'm like, someone get the fuck out here, please. I'm going to be fucking melting. It's already, I think, 87 outside at 8 o'clock in the morning. So super fun. Don't have really updates about the book. I did read a lot more last night, but same thoughts as before. Anyway, that's all for now. I'm going to go back out into the living room where it's a little bit cooler. Hello, it is I. Back again in this same location. I am very, I feel like I have a pre-migraine happening or something. I need to take some Aleve or Excedrin migraine. I just feel like brain fog all in the front of my face, brain, whatever. My migraines usually come in through the side, though, through my temple. At any rate, this book, I want to fucking try to finish this today, but I still have a decent amount to get through, a couple hundred pages. It's a book that is interesting overall, but it is a little boring in parts. And the way we're just jumping around to different years, different timelines, back and forth, here and there and everywhere, and then also with different characters randomly everywhere. Ghost brought me a present. Hi. What are you doing? What? Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? Anyway. Yeah, it's I am getting... I don't know if it's bored. It's just a little bit here and there and everywhere, and not that much is truly happening. It is much more literary in the fact that it's there's a plot happening, but not. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. You know what I mean. But I am getting to that point of like, I want to be done with this book. I have been listening to the audio a little bit here and there, and I'll probably do that a bit today. Yesterday, I barely read anything, certainly during the day when the air conditioning was out. It didn't get fixed until 3:30 p.m., and luckily it was a quick fix. When the guy showed up, he showed up at like a little after 3, maybe like 3:15-ish. And then, yeah, quick fix. It was just one part that needed to be fixed, and I was like, sweet. But then it did take several hours to get the house cooled down. It got up to 87 degrees by the time it got fixed. So that's fun. That was fun. And I did read some last night, but I want to read more, and I want to be done with this. But again, not in a like DNF kind of way. I'm not feeling like I want to DNF it. It's taking too long. Oh, and I was going to say the audiobook I listened to a little bit this past week. But I don't love the audiobook. I don't love the narrator. It's not my favorite audiobook situation, but I can feel the fatigue. She just brought a second toy. Methinks she wants to play.
Do you want to play? What are you doing? Are you so cute?
She is so cute.
There's your toy she brought to me. Ghost. Are you so cute?
Okay, I guess I'm going to give this cat some attention for a few minutes. Talk to you later. All right. I have indeed finally finished They Dream in Gold by my Senar, I believe. And I really liked the ending a lot. I'm not sure where my rating is going to lie with this one. I don't know. It was a little bit of a mixed bag simply because of the pacing in the middle section. And not even just the pacing. I don't think it was necessarily pacing. It was the hopping around into so many different timelines and different characters. And it wasn't even that the hopping around... I think the hopping around was a little confusing sometimes because we were jumping around from like 1969 to 1967 to 1966, back to 1969, and then to 1968, and then still 1968, and then back to 1969, and then to 1970, and then back to 1969, and then, you know what I mean? It was just a lot of like, where am I in the timeline? And sometimes certain plot threads felt random. However, I will say it all tied together. It all tied together in the end. I will say the ending did feel a little bit like quick, fast, maybe borderlining on like slightly rushed. I just thought it was really like well written. The prose. I don't know if you are someone who can get behind jumping around in a timeline, if the thematic stuff sounds like it might intrigue you. I think it's a worthwhile read. Worth checking out. If you like literary fiction, historical fiction, multiple timelines, kind of multiple characters, family dynamics, generational stories, if any of those are positive buzzwords for you, and if you're okay with some of the content warnings, I would recommend. And is that all? No. The other one I have, Nothing to See Here. That one's a little shorter, so hopefully I'll be able to get that through. And we are leaving for Michigan in a few days on Monday. So maybe I'll be able to finish that one. We shall see. I'll be back later. Hello. Whoops. Happy Friday. Here I am once again in my pajama top. No makeup on. Looking like a mess. It's fine. There was something last night as I was laying in bed. I was thinking about They Dream in Gold, and there was something I was going to say about, there was something that I was like, oh, I forgot to say that. I can't for the life of me remember what it was. Couldn't fucking tell you. At any rate, popping in because I started this last night. I don't know if you can hear that. I'm not sure what my boyfriend is doing. I'm not sure what my hair is doing either. Like, I tried doing my hair, and it's not. Also, right now, because I put my, face, my skincare, my lotion, my SPF, and so my skin is like a little tacky still, and I hate my hair touching my neck when it's like sticking to my neck. Whatever. Anyway, I started this and I'm only like 10% in. I'm not even through with the first chapter. I'm like 22 pages in, but I already have several tabs of hilarity. The writing style, the authorial voice, I am so here for. Just like right here, she is getting picked up by her friend, her quote unquote friend, Madison's driver, butler, I don't know, guy that works for her. And he's like, "Oh, you're friends with Madison?" And she's like thinking about how, like, I don't even know if we're actually friends at all. She says, "What we were was something weirder." But Carl didn't want to hear any of that, so we just rode in silence the rest of the way. The radio playing, easy listening, that made me want to slip into a hot bath and dream about killing everyone I knew. And then talking about Madison getting, like, finding her husband, who's a senator, and how she was hired on as, like, a campaign manager or something. And when she was hired, this senator had just left his wife and was dating some heiress. And it's said on the previous page, hold on, let me find it. Yeah. Had recently left his wife and 2 kids and started dating one of his biggest donors, some heiress who was obsessed with horses and wore crazy hats. Right? Then he becomes interested in Madison. So it says, and of course, he did this because he was falling in love with her, like everyone did, and because the heiress wouldn't shut the fuck up about some horse that she wanted to buy. Oh, God. So fucking funny. So, yeah, I'm finding this very amusing. And this one, as a reminder, I don't think I read, like, the synopsis or said what it's about since I showed it in the, like, library hall vlog clip. Lillian and Madison were unlikely roommates and yet inseparable friends at their boarding school. But then Lillian had to leave the school unexpectedly in the wake of a scandal, and they've barely spoken since. Until now, more than 10 years later, when Lillian gets a letter from Madison pleading for her help. Madison's twin stepkids are moving in with her family, and she wants Lillian to be their caretaker. However, there's a catch. The twins spontaneously combust when they get agitated, flames igniting from their skin in a startling but beautiful way. Lillian is convinced Madison is pulling her leg, but it's the truth. Thinking of her dead-end life at home, the life that has consistently disappointed her, Lillian figures she has nothing to lose. Over the course of one humid, demanding summer, Lillian and the twins learn to trust one another and stay cool, while also staying out of the way of Madison's buttoned-up politician husband. Surprised by her own ingenuity, yet unused to the intense feelings of protectiveness she feels for them, Lillian ultimately begins to accept that she needs these strange children as much as they need her, urgently and fiercely. Couldn't this be the start of the amazing life she'd always hoped for? With white-hot wit and big tender heart, Kevin Wilson has written his best book yet, a most unusual story of parental love. And yeah, the writing is doing it for me. I have not yet met the combusting children, so we'll see if it gets, like, wild. But yeah, so far, I'm loving it, and I'm like, I want to go read other stuff by this author if it continues to be an enjoyable time. We shall see, as I always say. Hello. So I'm gonna try to get a little bit of B-roll when I'm there, but I am taking some books to changing hands, and I'm actually going to be going to Bookman's later as well, to meet up with Elle and Sean and I think someone else, I think Enrique. And they, I think, are going to changing hands as well, but I want to trade in, and I also want to go to the little thrift store that's in the same plaza, so I figured I would just do my changing hands stuff now, and then I'll be meeting up with them when they're at the Bookman's that is near my house. So that's the plan. And I also need to run to Walgreens, and I need to run to Target. Fun stuff. So that's what I'm going to do. have returned, and I stupidly fucking forgot that I can't go to Walgreens to pick up my prescription because the Walgreens that I go to is currently not open on weekends because I think they only have one pharmacist. There's no weekend hours. I don't know. Literally none. They're closed on the weekends, on Saturday and Sunday, and I forgot that. But we leave Monday at the crack of dawn. So I'm going to try to call in a little bit a different one to see if they can, like, in the system, transfer it over to them. But I feel like they have to have someone in the pharmacy to answer and, like, talk to. But we'll see. At any rate, I did get a couple of books changing hands. They took a few books. I think they only took, like, 2 or 3. And they gave me $2 or $23. And I got 2 books, one used, one new, which will be in a haul in the future. And then I got a couple of little stickers to put on my guy here that has a couple stickers already. I have one for my channel that's kind of faded. A little book cart one, choose happy, and then a little rainbow thing. And then I got this one, cracked me up. What a time to be alive. And it's just a little dumpster on fire thing. And then this one with a little kitty. It says, there goes my last fuck. I just felt like the vibes were good with those. And then from the section of the bookstore I showed that's like the banned bookstore, I got this magnetic bookmark because I love a magnetic bookmark. And part of the proceeds from anything from the banned bookstore goes to an organization that's fighting against banned books. So yeah, I was like, sure, let me get this. And that's that. And I'm probably going to finish Nothing to See Here, and I'm going to sit down to read momentarily, and I will probably finish it shortly because I did read a lot of it yesterday. And I'm like 80% into it. Okay, I finished Nothing to See Here, and I loved this book. It's not super long, and it was so fucking funny, like absurd and hilarious, and just the authorial voice is just right up my alley with just kind of the dry, sarcastic wit and just truly hilarious. But it also was so touching, and like content warnings, definitely. For someone who genuinely like needs trigger warnings, content warnings, I would definitely say check out that for this book. There's nothing like crazy graphic or anything, but there is one element to the story that is like something these kids went through that is horrific. It wasn't like anything done to them. They weren't like physically abused or sexually abused or anything like that, but some real fucked up shit. Shit got dark for a second there with what happened to them. But it blended so well. It did the blend of funny, humorous, ridiculous, and then just so touching, so heartwarming. And like the end, I love the ending. I love how we ended things. It is just so precious, like so precious. So yeah, definitely going to be a favorite of the year, probably a new favorite. And like, I want to read Kevin Wilson's other books now. Absolutely. I will be grabbing those up from the library as well to see if this is an auto-buy-author or not. It sounds so absurd, the premise. These 2 kids that spontaneously combust and nobody knows why, and she has to go be their like nanny governess for the summer, and her deadbeat like life, dead end life. She's just like, okay, sure, whatever, with her high school prep school roommate from freshman year that they only knew each other for like that year, but then they kept in touch, and she's like kind of in love with the girl. Yeah, it just sounds like so absurd, and parts of it are so absurd, and like hilariously absurd. We're just like, what is fucking happening right now? It's so ridiculous. But then, yeah, it'll just hit you right in the heart as well. It's such a sweet, like, message of, like, found family and, like, parental instincts and parental love and just, like, an adult just, like, caring for children and, like, taking children under their wing to just love and care for and protect, and it was just, yeah, a lovely book. Lovely, lovely book. And that is now the end of this vlog. Thanks for kicking it with me while I checked out some completely random books and saw what they were all about. Even though one of them was dead on arrival, didn't even want to pick it up once I reread the synopsis. One of them was a DNF, but then the other two, this one was, definitely a winner. And the other one wasn't like a solid gold. Hey, the title is They Dream in Gold. It wasn't like a solid gold winner. It wasn't a stone cold stunner of a book, but like I liked it. I really liked elements of it. I would be intrigued to read something else from that author, I would say it was a success since I found a new favorite and then one that was pretty decent and that I enjoyed. As always, thank you so much for your time. Hope you have a wonderful day and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.